Hi there, I'm Aisha, and today we're going to be discussing the different types of relationships in the comedy show The Office. The Office is a mock documentary about your average paper sales company in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and along the way it delves into different relationships that form in the office amongst the characters. Now, while I've probably watched the show enough to describe each and every relationship, I'll only be discussing these three. First, Jim and Dwight, then Dwight and Michael, and finally, Michael and Ryan. Jim and Dwight are both salesmen at Dunder Mifflin, and their dynamic is very interesting. At the start of the show, both characters don't really get along. Dwight finds Jim to be quite annoying, and Jim just loves to poke fun at Dwight. As the show progresses, so do the characters, and by the end, they consider each other best friends. A key point when their relationship does change is when Dunder Mifflin goes through a lot of change as a company. Michael Scott, who was the manager, eventually leaves, and that leads to a new manager taking over. Not everyone is happy with this change, and you find that Jim and Dwight almost bond over it. Their relationship is also a great example of horizontal communication, which is communication among colleagues. In this sort of communication, colleagues work together to solve problems, get tasks done, etc. In this example I provided, Jim and Dwight forget that it's Kelly's birthday, so they have to come together and quickly figure out a plan to make Kelly happy. Next up, we have Dwight and Michael. Michael Scott is the manager to the Dunder Mifflin Scranton branch, and Dwight is his assistant, or assistant to the regional manager. Their relationship seems to be one-sided at some points, with Dwight finding Michael to be a mentor and father figure, and Michael not always liking or getting along with Dwight. Both characters unknowingly get a lot out of this friendship, especially when it comes to work. Dwight in particular constantly wants to impress Michael, and in the example that I provided, Dwight is trying to beat a computer at selling paper to show to Michael that he can do it. Dwight benefits from this because he ends up making more sales, and Michael gets more credibility as a manager because employees are doing so well. Dwight is also very loyal to the company, and that means that Michael constantly has an employee that he can rely on. Their relationship is also a great example of upwards communication, which is communication from subordinates to superiors. Dwight constantly goes to Michael when Jim is pestering him or trying to pull a prank on him and hopes that Michael will do something. Dwight finds a lot of comfort in Michael. Finally, we have Michael and Ryan. I like to think that Michael and Ryan are the complete opposite of Michael and Dwight, given that Michael is the one that's obsessed in this relationship. Ryan was once the temp at the Dunder Mifflin Scranton branch. Eventually, he gets promoted to VP of the company, making him a boss of Michael. Now, their unfortunate one-sided relationship starts because Ryan is the temp. He's kind of the new guy, he's the young one in the office, and Michael is really drawn to that. Their relationship is a great example of downward communication, which is communication from a superior to a subordinate. At one point in the show, when Ryan gets promoted to VP of the company, he eventually becomes the boss of Michael. In the example I provided, Ryan, being the boss of Michael now, has Michael create a PowerPoint to show the rest of the staff. While Michael doesn't follow through with this still shows the authority that Ryan has as the boss. Throughout the show, we see the development of many different types of relationships, whether that's romantic or just friendly. Nothing runs smoothly all the time, as there's always going to be conflict in the workplace. However, with open communication and the comfortability they have around each other, things always work out in the end. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm 17 and I've never been employed, but here are some things that I've learned that I can apply to when I eventually work. Openness and honesty is very important when it comes to developing good relationships with your coworkers. Respecting one another and treating others how you want to be treated is super important, and creating a healthy environment where you feel comfortable enough to go to work and you want to go to work is also very important.